This is Giants Amongst Us. It's where we share in the unique human experience, and it's where you're going to hear real stories that are told by real people, the relatable ones, real folks. This isn't about keeping up with the Hollywood squares. There's no room for that. There's plenty of channels covering that, talking about the gossip, talking about the drama. We're not entertaining any of that. This is about exploring, conversing, and engaging with real folks that have transcended struggles, challenges, setbacks, and moved on to something better for themselves. They looked at creating something better for themselves. So, although with the channel, you're going to hear struggles, fears, excuse me, pain, hurt, mistakes, all of those things that mold and shape our personality and our character, you're going to hear all about that. Addictions, trauma, handicaps, um, depression, suicidal thoughts, people feeling hopeless, meaningless, even those that were raised into a cult. But the common ground, the commonality between all of these people that I've had the beautiful opportunity to connect with and to allow them to share with those of you who have an open ear to this type of conversation, some of their life, some of their heart, and how they were able to resolve some of those problems and work towards healing, work towards recovery, work towards deliverance, and work towards becoming a better, more fulfilled, and satisfied human being. Someone who's living with purpose, someone who has meaning, someone who has a better sense of direction and of who they are. Because if you don't know who you are, there's going to be a million people, there's going to be 1,000 apps that'll gladly tell you who you are. So, trying to get down to the deep down, to the root and essence of who we are, and to become that person in all of its full potential and possibilities. It's good to have this opportunity right now. If there's people that have heard the show once or twice, you know that it's an audio format. And with the YouTube channel, for the most part, I've just been syncing the audio podcast, the long form podcast with the YouTube, and it automatically updates and uploads those episodes onto the YouTube channel. This is the first time that I've actually done a little video. And I decided it's about time to make use of the camera that I have, this microphone that I have, and this won't be the last. I'd like to start doing more of these and even some walk and talks because if you don't know, let me hip you to something. I'm originally from California. I've lived in Germany for the past 6 years, so I think just showing some of those differences, the landscapes, the architectural structures that are a big contrast to what I grew up around, castles, the open fields, things like that. Even the small villages and streets and little walk and talk show you around as I just give updates on the show, share a little bit what's on my heart, and to have these breaking bread conversations. And I think that's something that I'd like to start to include and implement in this podcast with the upcoming year because come 2025 in February, it'll be bam, 2 years since the first show was published, since Giants Amongst Us went from just being a thought and an imagination to actually being a podcast, 39 episodes in, which isn't a lot, but considering the fact that this was a thought and something that I wrestled with for a long time before I finally had the guts to just go ahead and go through with it, make it or break it. Some good help, support, love, and nudging, nudging me when I didn't have the belief in myself. I owe that to my wife. You know, I'm pretty sure you can relate to the time once or twice. Maybe it's happened on numerous occasions. I know I'm guilty of this. You have an idea, you have a thought, you have something you want to do, but then you talk yourself out of it. You make up a million reasons why it shouldn't be done, why it can't be done. For me, it was a podcast. Everybody's doing a podcast. What do I have to say? Who's going to listen? Who cares? It's oversaturated. But when that idea or that thought actually comes from a sincere place and means something to you, all that stuff should go out the window because it's just inside of you that is gravitating towards creating or going after something that at the time is just up here. It's just a figment of your imagination. But like I said, with a little bit of support, a lot of love, patience, and nudging me forward, helping me sometimes believe in myself and putting a little bit of extra juice in my battery pack when I need it, I finally decided to step out my comfort zone, challenge myself, put the pieces together to make this podcast happen. And it's really not even about me. I've just opened up the platform, send out some invitations, but the meat and potatoes of it is everybody who had the courage. They were open, they were game, they were willing to expose themselves, be vulnerable, and share some of their life with complete strangers in the hopes that it may help somebody else out, help somebody help themselves, find themselves, look within, and start to work on their own inner dynamics to become somebody that they can be proud of, someone that they can be happy and at peace with. Because there's a lot of people out there unhappy with their lives, with the way things are going, with the way or the direction that their life is taken. We're not perfect, and nobody on here is claiming to be holier than thou. As long as we're here, we're involved, like Joseph Campbell said, in a constellation of imperfections. But that doesn't mean that we can't strive or work towards higher potential and possibilities. That doesn't mean we have to be stagnant or content. This is a ever growing and evolving game that we're involved with. We could either chalk it up and blame it on chance, dumb luck, or become active in our life's experiences. So a huge, huge shout out to everybody that's been involved from the very beginning, sharing their hard times, their fears, their struggles, because that's a hard thing to do. We want to get on the camera or get on the gram or get on the TikTok or whatever social media platform you like to use. We want to get on there and show our A game, our highlights. Look at me, flamboyant, flossy. Nobody wants to talk about the struggle, the mistakes, the fears, the times when it didn't work out. So that's the very essence of the show. Everyone who's been game enough, willing enough, open enough, courageous enough, and um, shared some of that with all of us. I've learned a great deal from every one of those conversations, listening back to them. And I know we're only 39 episodes in that it has touched and struck a chord with some of you out there. I've received some nice warm emails. Here's to a new year. We're going to bring it in and let this not be the reason that you have to start or I have to start. I tell myself that a lot. Why do we have to wait to the new year to make resolutions? We can start today. Change can be made right now. Rome wasn't built overnight, but you can start putting the pieces together. You can start taking out what needs to be taken out. You can start adding what you think might need to be added in order to create that masterpiece of a puzzle that you can be, that I can be, and that we're working to make happen. So, I didn't want to stretch the video out any longer than it needs to be. Just shoot the breeze a bit, talk about the show, the 2 years in, some plans that I have, some new plans that I have to implement into the show and the podcast. One, doing something with the YouTube channel, some sitting across from the camera and just breaking bread with you all, even some live streams. If people are up for it, some sit downs, we can have a cup of coffee, drink a tea, whatever it is you do, and just talk about life, things that we're dealing with, how we're able to cope with it, some goals or projects that we're working on, and whatever else under the moon that is of interest to you or myself. You guys can for sure check the website out. I put blogs up there. You'll have updates on the show. The link in the show notes will give you all of the ties and the information, the breadcrumbs to find more updates on the show and what is on deck with it. I do have a conversation that was recently done with two young women, two creative spirits, and they have a book that they put together, a compilation, a collaboration. One is a painter, one is a poet. We're going to catch up. We're going to do this again real soon. Thank you once again to everybody who has been a part of the show. I hope you guys are doing well. To those of you listening, supporters of the show, hey, if you ever want to reach out to us, send some words, some feedback, some constructive criticism, whatever it is, what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, any ideas or tips or something we can do differently or something you would like to see. I'm all ears. You can reach out to us through email. You can get on the website. There's a feature on there where you can also leave a voice note. So even if you just want to let me know where you're listening from, how you're listening to the show, you're able to do that. Anybody listening, anybody who feels like maybe they want to add to the conversation, if you would like to be a part of the show and share your story, or even a story of someone in your life that has impacted you in a positive way, you could always reach out to us via email. I'd be happy to connect. Until next time, and very soon, peace.
Looking for a sign to know I'm on the right road. Ain't seen no sign since